Welcome back. Next up in Act 1 is, it is the theme presented in something tangible. Whether that is an object, colour, catchphrase, place, etc, etc. This story beat is so important for the young adult dystopian genre. Why? Because these stories are usually about fighting for change or revolution. Symbolism is one way to communicate and unite people with the same beliefs. Sometimes this symbolism is introduced at the same time as the theme. Sometimes the symbolism and the theme are introduced separately.
What's this?
That's a Mockingjay.
This symbol of the Mockingjay is important to the entire series, but the reason it feels so organic and isn't just a symbol for symbolism's sake is because it means something personal to Katniss in this first movie. It is a symbol of a promise between sisters. Clever, huh?
And as long as you have it, nothing bad will happen to you. I promise.
Interestingly, this isn't how the Mockingjay pin is introduced in the books, but hopefully after everything I've just explained, it makes sense why they changed it for the movies.
To protect you. Thank you.
In the second movie, they give us 2 hits of symbolism in the same scene. Katniss is playing with the pin, reminding us of the promise she made to her sister to survive the Hunger Games. Can she now convince the district she is in love with Peter to save her sister from President Snow's threats? Then we see it again, the rebels' first sign of the Mockingjay. It's demonstrating how this symbol of a promise between sisters is becoming the promise of a new future for everyone. 'Tis good, 'tis good.
You will hold yourself and your government responsible, or you will find another Mockingjay.
That's it. That's her, right there.
What is so interesting about the third movie is how it handles the symbol of the Mockingjay differently to the previous movies. How? How? Well, the third movie is about the Mockingjay. Will Katniss be the Mockingjay? How can the Mockingjay unify the districts? Blah, blah, blah.
Cinna's final touch.
We do see the pin in Act 1, but after a while, any symbolism around the Mockingjay starts to blur. Therefore, what the story does is give us a new tangible visual to hold on to. This white rose symbolically means President Snow. It means threats. It means danger. It is important to set it up in Act 1 because this symbolism comes back when District 13 is bombed by, yep, white roses. It's President Snow's clear message to Katniss. Back off or I will kill Peter. This symbolism works because it is seeded in the previous 2 movies.
For you, Miss Everdeen.
Now, Plutarch wrote a speech.
I'm not saying that.
Okay, didn't think so.
By the 4th movie, the symbolism of the Mockingjay has become secondary in comparison to the other movies.
Oh, there she is. The Mockingjay.
Yep, we catch a glimpse of the Mockingjay pin in the scene when Joanna is rifling through Katniss's belongings. Funnily enough, these are all tangible items that have come to mean something throughout the series, like the dad's portrait, the pearl, the necklace, and the Mockingjay pin. What I find more interesting than these items is the conversation itself.
I'm surprised they haven't found you a new loan. I mean, I've got 2. Do you want one of mine? I mean, it's everybody's job to keep you alive.
Is that why you hate me?
Joanna and Katniss are discussing the idea of the Mockingjay itself and what it represents through Katniss.
The whole tacky romance drama and the defender of the hopeless act, even though it's not an act, which makes it even more unbearable.
Subtextually, it's also about how symbolism is born, particularly within this world. Is the revolution really because of Katniss, or did the revolution just need anyone?
You should have been the Mockingjay. Nobody has to tell you what to say. But nobody likes me.
This is a great option in the young adult dystopian genre if the symbolism is suffering for whatever reason. Can you put the story's symbolism into the mouths of your characters? Which movie does the symbolism the best? The first movie, hands down. Because, like I said, the Mockingjay pin comes from an incredibly personal place. It adds such a rich layer to the symbolism. I mean, how much does this scene punch you in the gut later because of it?
Thank you.
What's next in Act 1? By now, Act 1 should have given us enough information to understand the story's conflict. This beat is where the conflict becomes active or overtly present in the story. Ooh.
It's time to sign in now. Okay, they're gonna prick your finger just to take a little bit of blood. It doesn't hurt much, just a little.
You can feel Katniss's anxiety in this sequence. She's concerned for her sister and for herself. This is the part in Act 1 where we truly understand the parameters of the world and the Hunger Games conflict Katniss will soon face.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
But the other cool thing it does is introduce the story's antagonist, President Snow.
Widows, orphans, a motherless child. This was the uprising that rocked our land.
Yep, he is the voice we are hearing. He is the one giving us the Capitol's version of history. He is the series' overarching conflict.
But freedom has a cost. When the traitors were defeated, we swore as a nation we would never know this treason again.
I couldn't imagine any other character giving this speech. Could you?
What do I need to do?
When you and Peter are on tour, you need to be madly prepared to end it all in love. You think you can manage that?
Yes.
So, in the second movie, if the inciting incident is President Snow's demand that Katniss convince him she's in love with Peter, what is the first overt action she takes to do this?
Uh-oh. Oh, I hope they're all right.
Yep, this is Katniss's first test to convince the world she is in love with Peter, and she goes for it. However, the problem is that things are still icy between Katniss and Peter.
It was nice acting.
You too.
Almost thought that kiss was real.
So another, less obvious scene that actively moves this conflict forward is this one.
But I can't go on acting for the cameras and then just ignoring each other in real life. So if you can stop looking at me like I'm wounded, then I can quit acting like it. And then maybe we have a shot at being friends.
Here they are agreeing to be friends, which is the catalyst for their authentic, camera-free relationship.
See, Katniss, the way the whole friend thing works is you have to tell each other the deep stuff.
The deep stuff.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, like what?
What's your favorite color?
Well, now you've stepped over the line.
We truly get to see how they would be good for one another. This scene is also the first of many within this movie that primes the audience for the emotional gut punches later.
I volunteer as tribute. Oh, I can't let you do that.
You can't stop me.
When Peter almost dies, when Peter offers to sacrifice his life for Katniss, and then when they are separated.
For you.
Thank you.
I love it because Act 1 is about Katniss trying to convince President Snow that she is in love with Peter. But Acts 2 and 3 are about Katniss actually falling in love with Peter. Among other things, of course.
Nobody needs me.
I do. I need you.
In the third movie, the beat where the conflict becomes most active happens in this sequence.
I want everyone who's watching to stop and to think about what a civil war could mean.
Peter's calling for a ceasefire.
Everyone needs to lay down their weapons immediately, or else that's it. For all of us.
And now District 13 is outraged by his behavior, calling him a traitor.
Are you calling for a ceasefire?
Yeah. I am.
What does Gale have to say?
We could have done a lot of damage tonight. In most districts, people are still too afraid to join. They need the courage.
Why do you think he said that?
Maybe he made some kind of deal to protect you.
He's still playing the game.
It's clear Katniss is terrified. She's convinced Peter has made some sort of deal to protect her, but she knows there can't be a ceasefire. What is she to do? Should she become the Mockingjay? We will find out. But soon. Not right now. What about the fourth movie? This scene.
I'm tired of killing his slaves for him.
I'm not a slave.
I am.
Katniss is convincing a civilian from District 2 to not shoot her.
Turn your weapons to snow.
Only another civilian shoots her anyway. Damn. It really throws Katniss for a loop. Part of her believes she's invincible because she is the Mockingjay, but now, she's not so sure.
What about you, Mockingjay? You feeling totally safe?
Till I got shot.
Katniss must acknowledge that she can and probably will die during this war, especially because she has the intention of President Snow. Her acknowledging this makes it clear to us too. And now we're asking, will she survive? Which movie works wonders on this beat? My vote is for the fourth movie.
We all have one enemy, and that's Snow. He corrupts everyone and everything. He turns the best of us against each other.
Katniss's speech is brilliant. And just when you think she's won everyone over, the scene rips out underneath us. It puts the stakes into perspective for the audience. Our protagonist is less safe than we thought.
Anybody can kill anybody, Katniss, even a president. You just have to be willing to sacrifice yourself.
Next up in Act 1, what is the inciting incident? It is the catalyst for the story. It happens to the protagonist, something to disrupt their life or call them into action. I mean, watch this episode on Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey's inciting incident if you dare. The purpose of the inciting incident is to force the protagonist to take action they have not taken before. Action to do what? To get what they want and / or need, and heal their wound.
Primrose Everdeen.
Prim! I volunteer!
That's it. That's her want coming into play right there. She wants to protect her sister.
Let's have a big hand for our very first volunteer, Katniss Everdeen.
And now the story truly begins. The story is also using the inciting incident to foreshadow what's to come by demonstrating the influence Katniss already has on others when they respond with the first signs of rebellion. Oh, so good.
At what point did he realize the depth of your indifference towards him?
I'm not indifferent.
Don't lie.
This scene is the inciting incident of the second movie. It does happen quite early compared to the usual expectation of the 3-act structure. But this change does work because the story gives us an intense setback anyway. This way, the audience gets a similar jolt the inciting incident should provoke around the time mark the inciting incident should occur. So nothing feels out of place. It's like a pseudo inciting incident. Let's take a look.
I did know Rue. He was too young. Too gentle.
Katniss is temporarily setting aside her task of convincing the district she is in love with Peter to make a heartfelt speech about Rue.
And I couldn't save her. I'm sorry.
It's gonna make me cry. Oh, her speech is what encourages a local to do this.
Alone! Leave him alone! No! Please leave him alone! No! No!
The repercussions are horrifying. Katniss realizes the gravity of the situation. President Snow was not bluffing with his threats. And now the story can continue with much higher stakes. In the third movie, the inciting incident happens in this scene.
Even if we win this war, what happens to Peter? I mean, I know he's not safe there, but he's definitely not safe here.
I don't think you know how important you are to them. You could demand almost anything. You'd have to agree to it.
Prim is encouraging Katniss to take action not taken before. Therefore, Katniss now knows how she is going to save Peter.
If and when Peeta is liberated, he will receive a full and unconditional pardon. No punishment will be inflicted.
What I love about all the inciting incidents so far is how they connect Katniss to Prim. In the first movie, she volunteers as tribute to protect her sister. In the second movie, she agrees to President Snow's demands to protect her sister. And in the pseudo-inciting incident, she makes a speech about Rue because she reminds her of Prim. And now, due to Prim's advice, the story of the third movie is about to kick off. Katniss agrees to be the Mockingjay. The inciting incident of the fourth movie happens during this scene.
I'm going to kill Snow. And I can't make another speech about it.
Until this point, Katniss's want has been for President Snow to suffer for all he has done. But in this scene, her want becomes even more acute.
He needs to see my eyes when I kill him.
Katniss knows exactly what she wants. She's just not sure how to get to the capital.
I hear the medics talking. They're shipping supplies to the front line from Hangar 2 around midnight tonight. I guess I could just stay here and cover for you.
Aha! Thanks to Joanna, she finds a way. And now the story truly begins. Which movie has the best inciting incident? The first movie. Yep, when Katniss volunteers, it makes me cry every time. And this inciting incident is the most charged out of the series because it is the inciting incident for the entire series, right? Think about it this way. The first movie is Act 1, the second movie is the first half of Act 2, the third movie is the second half of Act 2, and the fourth movie is Act 3. Get it? What's next in Act 1? The protagonist has now taken action not being taken before. So, what are the immediate consequences of these actions? Here, the want and/or need must become solidified. A goal to strive for is put before the protagonist, even if they are not willing to take it just yet.
Peeta Malark.
First consequence is that Katniss must now compete against someone she feels she owes. Of course, we don't understand this right away. We only get a cold introduction of Peeta with flashbacks of an incomplete memory. The second consequence is that Katniss must say goodbye to the life she once knew. Remember when I said that protecting her sister was Katniss's want at the start of Act 1? In this scene, the focus shifts to trying to win the game so that she can return to her sister.
Just trying to win. Maybe you can.
This moment is solidified symbolically when Prim gives Katniss the Mockingjay pin. Clever. Oh, I also love this interaction between Katniss and her mother. It highlights the stakes if Katniss doesn't win the games. Will her mother emotionally check out on Prim like she did when their father died?
No matter what you feel, you have to be there for her. Do you understand?
No! Leave him alone! No! Please leave him alone!
After the pseudo-inciting incident in the second movie, Katniss must face the consequences of her actions.
Snow, he came to see me. He's worried about rebellion in the districts. He thinks that they don't believe our love story.
She's confessing to the others that President Snow paid her a visit. Oh, and the threats he made about killing the people she loves.
Please just help us get through this.
This trip, girl, wake up. This trip doesn't end when you get back home. You never get off this train.
Good wake-up call, hey Mitch. Pretending to be in love with Peter is not a short-term stunt. It's lifelong.
You two are mentors now. That means that every year they're gonna drag you out and broadcast the details of your romance. Every year, your private life becomes theirs.
And it's clear Katniss had not considered this. She must now reorientate her goal. The third movie redefines the expectations of this beat, and it's so good. Instead of it being about a goal presented to a protagonist, even if they are not willing to take it just yet. I mean, Katniss has agreed to become the Mockingjay. She's already striving for what she wants. It is more about convincing others to strive for this goal as well, like Effie.
Katniss has agreed to be the Mockingjay.
That poor thing.
Your girl on fire is burnt out. I need you to join this team now.
Plutarch is trying to convince Effie to become the Mockingjay's escort.
You honestly believe one of these cave dwellers is going to take my place? No.
Thankfully for us, she agrees. Effie is such a delight to watch in this series. Definitely my favourite character. In the fourth movie, when Katniss decides to sneak into the Capitol to try and President Snow, the immediate consequence is the realization she may never see her sister again. This hug is one of goodbye. Little do they know that it is the last hug they will ever share. Which movie does it best? My vote is for the fourth movie. Why? Well, it's not only a goodbye between sisters. It's a goodbye against a backdrop of a wedding. A setting that is filled with joy is turned on its head. Such great use of juxtaposition. So good. Next up in Act 1. We've seen the immediate consequences of the inciting incident. Now it's time to throw an unexpected curveball at the protagonist. A curveball that should complicate the new action being taken or increase the conflict. This movie does the Whiplash with world building. Just look, Katniss is amazed by the food, the beauty, the wealth and luxury. It begs the question, what has she got herself into? The second whiplash she experiences is with her interaction with Peter and Haymitch.
You know, Katniss, he is our mentor. He did win this thing once.
Peter's just being so supportive and friendly. This is not what Katniss was wanting or expecting from someone she has to compete against.
Embrace the probability of your imminent death and know in your heart that there's nothing I can do to save you.
And now Haymitch, who is supposed to help them through the games, appears to have no such plan. The whole experience just leaves Katniss trying to figure out what to do next. The whiplash in the second movie presents through a montage.
It was the bond of love, forged in the crucible of the games, that was our greatest prize.
The people do not believe Katniss, no matter how hard she tries. She must also stop herself from helping others who the peacekeepers are taking. This is totally against her character, by the way. And worst of all, she learns she has inspired a young girl to volunteer as tribute when she grows up. Katniss has really lost control of the situation. It's raising the stakes, like how can she come back from this? The whiplash in the third movie is a good one.
Katniss Everdeen has consented to be the face of our cause. In exchange, I have promised several concessions.
So here President Coin is announcing to District 13 the deal she made with Katniss to have her be the Mockingjay. But President Coin has conditions of her own.
If Katniss Everdeen fails to fulfill her duties, the deal will be off.
Katniss was surprised to find out about this. So the stakes have been raised. And the question now becomes, how can Katniss be an influential Mockingjay to ensure Peter's survival? The whiplash in the fourth movie happens in two parts.
At the front line, surviving a gunshot wound. Couldn't have staged it better myself.
Here, President Coin is upset that Katniss went against her orders.
She's going to stay where she is. And whatever she's doing, we conceived it.
She's asking Plutarch to devise a scheme to show the rest of the rebels that Katniss is working with her.
You're to be the on-screen faces of the invasion.
And this scene, Katniss learns she will be a part of the Star Squad. So what this means is that her and her troop will be days behind the front line filming promotional videos. How is she to President Snow if she's stuck filming propos? This isn't what she was expecting. Which movie does it better? I vote the fourth movie, especially because we get to see the plot cogs turn.
You're the game maker. I want everyone to know whatever game she's playing it for us.
This exchange between President Coin and Plutarch is so juicy. This is when we see President Coin's facade start to crack and her true agenda of becoming the new leader of Pan Am creeps through. What's next in Act 1? The protagonist comes to truly understand what's at stake. And not just the big picture stakes of the story, but this time the personal individual stakes. It's more about the reality sinking in that they must do something, not do something, gain something, lose something. This scene can also simultaneously challenge the moral of the protagonist too.
This moment is a moment that you never forget.
Yes.
The moment when a tribute becomes a victor.
I think Katniss always knew that to become a victor, a tribute is required to kill another. But now that she's a tribute, reality sits differently. Can she actually kill another person? Aha! This moment is not directly about the protagonist. It's about the antagonist.
Your hair looks lovely, darling. When did you start wearing it like that?
Everyone at school wears it like this now, Grandpa.
The fact that President Snow's granddaughter is being influenced by the Mockingjay tells him that Katniss's efforts on tour have not had the desired effect he asked for. Katniss is not convincing the districts of her love for Peter like President Snow asked her. It definitely helps explain his motivations to come.
Because of her, they all think they're invincible.
Katniss is coming to feel the effects of what's at stake for her personally in this scene.
He's dead, isn't he? Yes, dear.
Cinna is the first person close to Katniss to die because he believed she could be the Mockingjay. I guess it would leave Katniss wondering, you know, who might be next. That's an awful thought to think, but... Regarding personal stakes in the fourth movie, the scene that best sets it up comes early, like way before the inciting incident. It's this one.
Saw Peter before we left.
But you don't have to be jealous of him anymore.
It's clear Katniss has feelings for Gale, but I'm pretty sure Gale's gonna sum up her dilemma perfectly right now.
I don't stand a chance if he doesn't get better. I'll never let him go.
This whole scene is just reminding us of the interpersonal conflict that comes throughout this final movie. And it's so delicious. Which movie does this beat well? I vote for the first movie. It's a well-crafted scene that perfectly externalizes Katniss's inner state. The simple action of her turning off the TV says so much. Genius. What's next in Act 1? By now, the character's want is clear. They have a goal they want to achieve. The only problem is they don't know how to achieve the goal they want. This scene or sequence should show the protagonist trying to decide the how, you know, which path to take. Usually, however, the how is not what they expect.
I was just giving some life-saving advice.
Like what?
In the first movie, Katniss's goal is to win the Hunger Games. And up until this scene, Katniss believes the competition is based on survival and combat skills.
You really want to know how to stay alive? You get people to like you.
The truth that it's more a popularity contest is shocking to her. Why? Remember, she struggles to parade and perform. This how raises the stakes. Can she win sponsors over? But this how also does something else. It foreshadows a slew of obstacles that Katniss will need to overcome, particularly in the first half of Act 2. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss the breakdowns of Act 2 and Act 3. What about the second movie? Katniss proposes one last effort to convince President Snow she's in love with Peter.
You could get married.
That's not helping.
I'm serious.
It raises the stakes, particularly Katniss's personal stakes. How is she supposed to be with Gale if she's married to someone else? Polyamory.
It does make a statement, I'll give you that.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
They now have the how. Hopefully it works. In the third movie, after it's clear Katniss sucks at delivering the scripted propaganda, the characters discuss how to help her become the ultimate Mockingjay.
What do all these have in common?
No one told her what to do.
Unscripted, yes. So maybe we should just leave her alone.
Haymitch proposes they send Katniss into combat to capture her unscripted moments. And the others agree, especially Katniss.
And if you're killed?
Make sure you get it on camera.
We now know how Katniss is going to achieve the how. A scene that deliberates the how in the fourth movie is this one.
Looks like you got your meals covered.
Try to be prepared.
Don't lie to me.
Gale suspects that Katniss will go off alone. Oh, and he asks if he can come with her.
But I couldn't stop you if you wanted to come.
Katniss agrees. The how is set, but this how is derailed by the second half of the Whiplash. Remember, Katniss is tricked into the Star Squad. It'll be really hard for her and Gale to leave this troop now. So, which movie does it best? My vote is for the third movie. Basically because it's funny.
I like you better, Effie, without all that makeup.
Oh, I like you better sober.
No, really, it is because it is a good mixture of humor and heartbreak. I especially enjoy this exchange.
And wash your face. She's still a girl. You made her look 35.
It does so much to build Boggs and Katniss's relationship, which becomes truly important in the last movie.
There's only one thing you could do now to add more fire to this rebellion.
Die.
That's not gonna happen under my watch, Katniss.
Next up in Act 1. This is the final beat of Act 1 before the story springs into the new world of Act 2. And it should leave us with a big question. What will happen next?
There it is.
This beat is so literal. They arrive at the new world, the capital.
That's incredible.
And the stakes are about to rise because Haymitch is gonna say this.
Better keep this knife. He knows what he's doing.
Peeta has become a genuine competitor for Katniss, and Katniss isn't sure how she feels about it. She does not want to pander to these people at the capital, but if she wants to survive, she will have to learn to do so. What's going to happen next? In the second movie, the final beat of Act 1 happens at the end of the Victor's Tour. Katniss and Peeta are attending a party at the president's mansion.
You think we convinced him?
I'm not sure what else we can do.
They're desperate to know if Katniss has convinced President Snow that she loves Peeta.
Your love has inspired us, and I know it will go on inspiring us.
If Katniss has, she and her loved ones are safe. If not... Oh, that is a clear no. Katniss has failed. Yeah, Act 1 is ending with a real sense of dread. How will she protect herself and her loved ones now? Well, I don't know. The stakes have just increased.
Plutarch wanted you to have a weapon for the sake of the propos, but it couldn't just make you a fashion accessory.
It's beautiful.
Katniss is now ready to fulfill her duties as the Mockingjay. Cool, she's kitted out with a new bow. Yes, and she's introduced to her propo team.
We all fled on our own. For this. For you.
Here we go. The story is on the edge of the world when they leave the safety of District 13 to fly to District 8. Is Katniss going to survive what's out there? Time will tell. In the fourth movie, the final scene of Act 1 balances balances a few beats. The whiplash, the deciding the how, and now on the edge of a new world. It can get away with this. Why? Because it is the last movie in the series. It should be hitting us with intense stakes and setbacks. What I like about this scene especially is Boggs is sharing more rules of the world, specific to the Star Squad, like the Hollow and the Nightlock pills.
It has a self-destruct on it. You flip this switch, say Nightlock 3 times, and it blows itself in anything within a 10-foot radius.
This information foreshadows what's to come, right? And with that, we say goodbye to the old world and step into the new world.
Welcome to the 76th Hunger Games.
Which movie does it best? My vote is for the second movie. The Act 1 question is so strong. Can Katniss convince President Snow she's in love with Peter? And we find out the answer through action only. It's so powerful. Well done. Okay, based on observations so far, let's smash. After analysing Act 1, I have so many great ideas for a new, young adult dystopian story. But I'm not sure yet if any of them will actually sustain a 3-act structure. So I will save my mash for a future Hunger Games video. I'll definitely do a breakdown of Act 2 and Act 3. Until then, here's a recap of the key takeaways from Act 1. Until the next smash, bye! The true... Keep bumping the camera. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss the Act 2 and Act 3 breakdowns.